The chapter that we're going to go over today is extremely important, but in reality, there is no most important book of the Bible or chapter or verse. The whole thing must be read in its entirety. But this chapter, I believe, is extremely important because it includes a big chunk of the history of the Bible that I think is missed. All of it is important to read. It helps us to understand the entire book because the author is the same. No matter the name of the chapter, no matter who is talking in the verses, all of the book is inspired by the Most High. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 20. Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scripture is of any private interpretation. For the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man, but holy men of Elohim spake as they were moved by the Holy Ghost. Very simply, Peter is expressing that the books that are written were instructed to be written by the Most High himself. It wasn't somebody else's good idea or good feeling, but when we read about it in the Bible, they were instructed to write it by the Most High. That's why when we read in Jeremiah, it says the word of the Most High came to me. And sometimes it says, Jeremiah, write all the things that I have spoken. The scriptures are all a collection of books or words that were spoken by the Most High to these particular people, and it now is being written. And most confusion when it comes to the Bible is because they may read one part but haven't read another part, or they may focus on one part and it completely overlook another part. And so now these gaps that people have are now filled in with their own ideas and their own thoughts because they haven't read the whole thing. It's like watching a trilogy and you haven't seen the first two parts, whether it be Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or whatever huge or big trilogy that's out there. Imagine only seeing the last part or the last movie, but not seeing the first two. There will be so many gaps, and it's natural for the brain to just fill in those gaps with ideas. If you study the brain, it will want to fill in gaps. People who have read the New Testament and haven't read the Old Testament will just naturally fill in gaps. They will use Paul's writings, and their gap in their understanding will be filled in by their own thoughts. And that's why you have so many people who have so many different ideas. That's where you get all the confusion, and you have a million YouTube channels with everybody trying to explain their point. But 99% of them have not read the book. And it's not enough to read it once. It must be a continual progress to gain all the knowledge that's missing. Now, let's read 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 1 to gain or to get a big chunk of history that is missing that will help many people understand what's written in the New Testament. Without this chunk of history, the New Testament becomes extremely confusing. So let's start by reading 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 1. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Most High, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea became his servant and gave him presents. So the first thing that we have to understand when we read the book of Kings and the book of Chronicles is that for the most parts, there are a king of Israel and a king of Judah. There is a split. And for most of these books, Kings and Chronicles, the king of Israel and the king of Judah were at war. So you have a king of Israel and you have a king of Judah. It starts out in chapter 1, the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, been reigning now for 12 years. And now Hoshea is beginning his reign, reigned in Samaria. And that's where in the New Testament you get the Samaritans. These were the descendants of the children of Israel that were under Hoshea. And Hoshea did evil in the sight of the Most High, but he wasn't as bad as the kings that came before him. And Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, came up against Hoshea. And Hoshea gave him presents, meaning that he paid him taxes. Verse 4. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to So king of Egypt, and brought no presents to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. Then the king of Assyria came up through all the land, and went up to Samaria, and besieged it 3 years. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria, and carried Israel away into Assyria, and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river of Gozan, in the cities of the Medes. What happens here now is Hoshea, the king of Israel, has now rebelled against the king of Assyria by not paying him taxes, as he had done year by year. Now the king of Assyria is now come up against him in war. and besieged Israel, which is the 10 tribes of Israel, not Judah. Judah is separate. He besieged it or went to war with them for 3 years. A lot of times when we read, one chapter in the Bible or a couple verses in the Bible, it seems like this took place overnight. But this war went on for 3 years, and the person who is writing this is now recapping it. 9 years after Hoshea became king, the king of Assyria has now taken him and put him in prison, and taken the children of Israel out of their own land, and has now spread them throughout different cities, in Halah and in Habor and in the city of the Medes. So they spread them out now. They are no longer in their own land. Verse 7, for so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Most High their Elohim, which brought them up out of the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods, and had walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom the Most High cast out before the children of Israel, and of the kings of Israel which they had made. And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Most High their Elohim, and built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. The Most High is explaining why the children of Israel were taken out of their own land. These are the same people that came up from the land of Egypt, but they walked in the statutes of the other people who the Most High had told them not to follow. And now the Most High has now had enough with them. So he took them out of their cities, because they would not keep his commandments. Verse 10, and they set them up images and groves in every high hill and under every green tree, and they burnt incense in all the high places, as the heathen whom the Most High had carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke the Most High to anger. For they served idols, whereof the Most High had said unto them, Ye shall not do this thing. Yet the Most High testified against Israel and against Judah by all the prophets and all the seers, saying, Turn ye from your evil ways, and keep my commandments and my statutes according to all the law which I commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. The children of Israel built high places, or places of worship. That's what high places are. And they had images or statues that they worshiped, and in groves. So these were outside places with green trees and special places that they had carved out, where they would do worship to these other gods, even though the Most High had helped them defeat some of these other nations. But for some reason, the children of Israel found them appealing. They just provoked the Most High to anger. So he turned against them. And when it says that he testified against them, means that he sent prophets. In other words, he did not punish them right away. He gave them a chance to turn from their evil ways. So he sent prophet after prophet after prophet. So Elijah was sent, Amos was sent, and unnamed prophets. Not every prophet that was sent to Israel is named. He gave them a chance, but they refused. Verse 14, notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hardened their necks like the neck of their fathers, that did not believe in the Most High their Elohim. And they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies, which he testified against them. And they followed vanity and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom the Most High had charged them, that they should not do like them. And they left all the commandments of the Most High their Elohim, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshipped all the host of heaven, and served Baal. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantment, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Most High, to provoke him to anger. Therefore the Most High was angry with Israel, and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. This goes on further to explain why the Most High was so hard against Israel, and why he sent the king of Assyria against them. Because they hardened their necks like their fathers, they refused to keep his judgments, commandments, and statutes, and they followed these other rules that the Most High told them not to do, including sacrificing their own children. So the Most High was angry with them and removed them out of his sight. When it says removed him out of their sight, it means out of his care. He no longer watched over them, nor helped them. And as far as he's concerned, they are no longer a nation. Verse 19, also Judah kept not the commandments of the Most High their Elohim, but walked in the statutes of Israel which they made. And the Most High rejected all the seed of Israel, and afflicted them, and delivered them into the hand of spoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight. So it repeats what they did, why the Most High has turned against them. And cast out of sight means no more king of Israel. The Most High is not recognizing them as a nation anymore. No king of Israel is going to be mentioned from this chapter on The only thing you're going to hear about is the king of Judah, because Israel, or the 10 tribes of Israel, are removed out of his sight. For he rent Israel from the house of David and made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king. And Jeroboam drave Israel from following the Most High and made them sin a great sin. This is talking about the split. To understand this history, you have to go back to when Solomon was king and the kingdom was split. That's why it said it rent Israel from the house of David. Because of what Solomon did, the Most High took the 10 tribes from Israel and gave them to Jeroboam. But Jeroboam, as I spoke about in a couple videos ago, kept not the commandments, and he made 2 calves. And the Most High has had it with the 10 tribes, because he gave them a chance to be over the house of David, but they rebelled more than the house of David. Verse 23, and the Most High removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his prophets. So Israel was carried out of their own land unto Assyria this day. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cutha, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. It was of no benefit of a king to leave a land empty. You would always want people there to conduct traffic and to pay you taxes. So he took Israel out of that land and replaced them with people from other lands, from Cutha, and from Hamath, and from Ava, and placed them in Samaria instead of the children of Israel. Verse 25, and so it was in the beginning of their dwelling there, that they feared not the Most High. Therefore the Most High sent lions among them, and slew some of them. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which thou hast removed, and placed in the cities of Samaria, know not the manner of the Elohim of the land. Therefore he has sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the Elohim of the land. So here we have the people now that are moved into the land know nothing about any of the Most High's customs. So now he has sent lions among them that are devouring them randomly. And this was not done before. So they understood that the Most High loves that land and wants certain laws obeyed, and cannot go without certain laws being obeyed for long. Verse 27, then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry one of the priests whom you brought from here, and let them go and dwell there, and let them teach the manner of the Elohim of the land. Then one of the priests, whom they had carried from Samaria, came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear the Most High. Howbeit every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the houses of the high places which the Samaritans had made, and every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt. And the men of Babylon made Succoth-Benoth, and the men of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Hamath made Ashima. The Avites made Nibhaz and Tartek, and burnt their children to the fire of Adremelech and Amalek, the gods of Sepharvaim. And so they feared the Most High, and made unto themselves the lowest of them priests of the high places, which sacrificed for them in the house of the high places. They feared the Most High and their own gods. They served the Most High and served other gods, after the manner of the nations who they carried away from there. Unto this day they do after the former manner, and they feared not the Most High, neither do they after his statutes, or after his ordinances, after the law and the commandments which the Most High commanded the children of Jacob, who he named Israel. What happens here now is that they didn't know the customs of the land. They bring one of the priests that were carried away out of the land to come back and teach these people who had moved into the land the laws and the customs, to at least keep the Most High at bay or at peace. So they kept the laws of the Most High, and they kept the other ordinances and worshiped other gods. So they did both. They did reverence to the Most High, and they did reverence to other gods. And that's what you see going on in many Christian churches today. They keep part of the laws and the commandments, and they worship the Most High. So they read the Bible, part of it, but then they are completely disobedient in other places and do whatever they feel like, serving the Most High, and they're serving other gods. Verse 35, with whom the Most High had made a covenant, and charged them, saying, ye shall not fear other gods, nor bow yourselves to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them. But the Most High, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt with great power and a stretched out arm, him shall ye serve, him shall ye fear, and him shall ye worship, and to him shall you do sacrifice. And the statutes and the ordinances and the law and the commandments which he wrote to you, ye shall observe to do evermore, and ye shall not fear other gods. I don't know how other people feel when they read that, but to me, it's so obvious that the laws are forever. Evermore is eternity. The commandments and the laws are forever. I don't know why people don't get that. I mean, I'm making a video about people not getting that because simply they haven't read the whole thing. If the Most High is going to send people into captivity because they have not kept his laws and his commandments, and then to come to the New Testament and say, I didn't mean that, doesn't make any sense. These people were ripped out of their own land and killed because they refused to keep the Most High's commandments. So we cannot now come to the New Testament and say those commandments don't matter. It's just a misunderstanding. And it's important to read chapters like this. Let's read that one more time. Unto this day they do after the former manner. They fear not the Most High, neither they do after his statutes, or after his ordinances, or after the law and the commandments which the Most High commanded the children of Jacob, who he named Israel, with whom the Most High had made a covenant and charged them, saying, Ye shall not fear other gods, nor bow yourselves to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them, but the Most High who brought you up out of the land of Egypt with great power and a stretched out arm, him shall you fear, and him shall you worship, and to him shall you do sacrifice. And the statutes and the ordinances and the law and the commandments which he wrote for you, ye shall observe to do evermore, and you shall not fear other gods. This is as plain as day. Verse 38, And the covenant that I made with you, you shall not forget, neither shall you fear other gods. But the Most High, your Elohim, ye shall fear, and he shall deliver you out of the hand of your enemies. This was a promise made to them, which they did not keep. And the Most High now has rebelled against them and has sent them into captivity. But the most important thing to understand is verse 18. Therefore the Most High was angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. So from this point on, you will not see anything about the tribe of Israel. They are moved out of the Most High sight. There is no more king of Israel as far as he is concerned. And there is no more people of Israel. So when we get to the New Testament, we see the word the Jews, the Jews, the Jews. The Jews is short for the word Judah. And it's so important to understand that we're reading the New Testament. It's about understanding that this separation was only to be temporary. The separation was not forever. And when you read the Old Testament prophets, they all knew that Israel would be joined again into one people, not separated into two people. And when you read Paul's writings, or Peter's writings, or John's writings, or James's writings, they're writing to these Israelites that were scattered. And that's what you see in the New Testament. And unless you read this history, you're not going to understand that. And you're going to think Bible was written to everyone, but it's not. So proof of what I'm saying, let's read James chapter 1, verse 1. James, a servant of the Most High, and Yeshua or Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. He's letting you know from chapter 1 that he's writing this to the 12 tribes that were scattered. In other words, some Jews are scattered at this point, but he's talking about the Israelites who were scattered under Shalmaneser. So he's writing to them. 1 Peter 1:1. Peter, an apostle of Yeshua or Christ, to the strangers that are scattered through Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia. This is his first book. Of the first chapter, he's telling you who it's written to. It's not written to everyone. He says to the strangers that are scattered. And he lists Galatia is the book of Galatians. In Galatia is one of the places that Shalmaneser scattered the children of Israel. Romans chapter 9, verse 1. I say the truth in Christ, I lie not, my conscience also bearing witness in the Holy Ghost, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. For I could wish that myself were accursed for Christ, for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to who pertaineth the adoption, the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of the Most High, and the promises. So all three New Testament writers are writing these books to the scattered Israelites that were under Shalmaneser. To sum this all up, the whole Bible must be read in its entirety. And the chapter I read to you, which is 2 Kings 17, will explain the missing history that caused many to be confused when they come to read the New Testament. And if you're followers of the Most High, it's important that we do or read everything he has to say so we can get a better understanding of him and his communication to us as people. Now, who are Israelites today? There's no way to tell. Israelite is a bloodline, not a color. It's not a fad. It's not random people. They are scattered throughout the entire world now. And that's what Christ will do when he'll come back. is to gather them and select them. But if the Most High has put in your heart to read the entire book and to follow the commandments that we see written here, you should try to do so to the best of all your ability. Do whatever you see that is written, trying to be obedient. Israelites and non-Israelites will be in the kingdom. Different roles, different places of position, but all followers of the Most High will be in the kingdom. That's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.